Activism Insights is an effort from members and supporters of the VenusProject.com resource-based economy and is not an official spokesperson, representative, or act in any official capacity and serves only to encourage, support, and motivate other TVP activists. And welcome to Activism Insights, the show that's dedicated specifically, solely, and exclusively to the VenusProject.com resource-based economy activists who are out there in the field. We know that you're there. We know how hard you work every day, and this show is dedicated to you. We have a wonderful, wonderful guest that we have on the show today. And first, I'd like to thank everybody and introduce Stan Aizin, who's a tremendous activist for the VenusProject.com resource-based economy, and has I remember you way back in Zeitgeist days, man. I remember in those days. I think you were like on a moderator or something, but I remember you from way back, and he's just been so active. He does a lot of very serious work that's behind the scenes that is being developed and hashed through and works very hard. And I'd like to introduce him. This is Stan Aizin. And Stan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Luke. I'm glad to be here. Yes, I've been helping the Venus Project for quite some time, but I learned about it actually by accident. I watched Future by Design movie, and by the pure chance, I was living near Venus, so it's just 2-hour drive, and I was fascinated by everything, and I decided to just drive there and see everything by myself, and speak to Jacque, speak to Roxanne, but everything was. I mean, this is exciting to learn sort of something new exists, that is an alternative out there that you can look and try to actually implement it in your life right now and actually plan for the future. But I was not 100% in this idea right away. I had my questions. I had my reservations. I was curious. I was asking them lots of questions, and try to be there as much as I can, because it's lots of things from my background did not match with that. But I learned a lot about it. I did additional research, and I can tell you that. Right now, I don't see any other organization that provide alternative that detailed and that globally oriented for everybody and exclusive for everybody that's out there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think a lot of others are too. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, far out. And you're from Moldova, is that correct? And you came to this country?
Correct. Yeah, I'm from Republic of Moldova. It was ex-Soviet Union republic. After Soviet Union collapse in 1991, it became independent country, and I came in here in 2007. And after learning my English and getting my my situation more or less stable, I was able to see what is going on and interact with people and learn more about the country, about what's going on. But it's interesting. I also would like to mention that when I actually came here, I was more business oriented, because I thought, when we came in here, there is a capitalism, work as it should, not like in any other countries. So I would like to learn about it and start my business, start my things and run it there. But when I had to take some prerequisites for my degree, I took sociology. And I took sociology before, but it was a little bit different back in Moldavia when I got my first education. Okay. But I took sociology here, and I opened the book, and in the book I saw the chart when it was the chart was showing that distribution of wealth in this country. That's how I learned about 1%. So I asked my teacher, is that some kind of typo here? How 1% can earn that much? So, and it's actually stemmed from there.
Whoa. Yeah, how do you reply? Yeah, well, of course it is. That's how it is.
Yeah, well, this is how it is, and she tried to explain me that how the system works and why is that. But, no, to give her credit, she was unbiased and tried to present me with the information
Wow.
and tried to present me with additional sources I can read. So I start reading, start watching movies, start talking to people, start to learn about this stuff. So, and actually, this is where I am right now.
Out of sight. Well, I feel very fortunate that you're on board with this. You do so much work. I'd like to talk a little bit about that. You gave a wonderful, wonderful presentation. This will have a link to it. It's on YouTube, where you did a fantastic presentation on transition, how we get from here to there, at Jacque's 100th birthday centennial celebration that was last year in March 2016. It was a wonderful presentation. We'll have a link for that. You do so much. What are some of the things to help us that are out in the field to know about what's going on? What could you add about how we get from here to there? What kind of information can we use, and when we talk to people, to let them know? Because it was so far-reaching. Your presentation is really good.
Absolutely. To actually, for this presentation, I would like to mention that it always was a question. This is the most fuzzy question for me. Was all the time, how we get over this system that developed for for millions and millions of years, and you always expect to have some kind of magic pill or rocket somewhere can travel, and in the future. But the more you learn about it, the more you understand that you have to take incremental steps. And because this system is developed for millions of years, we're not going to change it in a decade, and maybe even 100 of years. And lots of things that I use in this presentation, I took from Jacque. I took his ideas and I tried to expand on them, tried to do additional research on that and how everything can transpire. But I would like to point out that this is one of the scenarios. This is not necessary scenarios, but we have to take. This is, as for right now, best case scenario. Mm-hmm. That we would take in, and actually, and this has evolved, but it can be lots of different intermediate steps and different branches anywhere, because systems they evolve. It's living, breathing organisms. We are organisms, and we are part of the larger organism that react to different stimuli and different change in the environment. So we have to take into account. But however, I think this is very important that understand that this is even if we look into the Venus Project, if we look into information that we already have, because you don't have to have a very far advanced degree to actually be able to look, although you have to be able to learn new things and have to understand how this system works and how other systems can work. You have to expand your horizons as well. But it's very important to understand that we can reach. This is attainable right now. It was attainable actually when 100 years ago, when we start to get manufacturers and rudimentary automation. So I decided to address this topic because it was. I feel that this is one of the questions that everybody asks, that everybody who learned about the Venus Project initially, who learned about the resource-based economy, they're saying, okay, well, this is very nice, this sounds very good, we're on board with it, how we can get there. So this is the steps we can take over time. And as a volunteers and people who out there, as we're right now working with the Venus Project, working with the other people, trying to introduce this direction, it is very important to understand that what we're actually talking about. Right. Because as we have this conversation online that through chat that whatever you say, whatever you do, always somebody came in and they try to discredit you right away.
Yeah.
Like they did, with the obituary of Jacque. It was. I still. get over it that even his obituary, they found somebody who say, "Oh, Fresco's incorrect." Okay, he's incorrect. Point out, provide useful, useful
Yes.
critique. Something that it just to say it's incorrect. It's the same thing. If somebody say it is just a utopia, right?
Right. Right.
So when we're out there, it's very important to know what we're talking about. So we need to study basics in psychology, basics in sociology, basics in economics. It's free courses out there, it's books out there, so we can read and understand how the system works, how we can present. Well, from my own perspective, I feel that we don't have to criticize the system anymore because it's a lot of critique out there, and actually constructive criticism out there. But we don't have to focus on that because I don't know how about you, Luke, but from my experience that when I talk to people, even who are really, really involved in this system and was very successful, and it is very successful, if you dig a little deeper, they understand that this is
Totally.
and that this is absolute,
Yes.
not right.
Right.
Let's put it this way.
Yes.
So it is important to understand what kind of alternatives we have and present this alternative to people.
Yes.
So for right now, of course, Venus Project is all-inclusive organization, but we have to understand that with limited resources that we have right now, it is important that you will not waste your time on people who fighting this idea with you. So when you present to somebody, try to, again, to quote Fresco, to reach somebody who is already halfway there. They already have the questions. They already understand that this is not right. This is not where it should go. This is not what the values actually, that the values of the society, even in this system, this is not how it's operated. Not according to these values. Not according to brotherhood of man, love your neighbor, and stuff like that. Right? How you can love your neighbor if you have to compete for the survival.
Totally.
So yeah, try to reach who's halfway there, asking questions. Try to lead them to a certain information. I feel that's very important that we actually try not to think that this is something that what we understand. It's clear for us to understanding that somebody else will pick it up right away because people like this is completely different environment, completely different situation. So sometimes it is need to be very patient, and sometimes people just cannot afford to let go. They understand you, they might be on board emotionally with you, but in their mind they just can't let go the identity that heavily provide them from their from the birth and from the upbringing and from the peer pressure. Sure. So in the same time, it is very important to talk to everybody about this because you never know, where the roots actually, where the seeds actually take root.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, if we have a way and as we gain more understanding about how to reach people, that people reflect their environment and that we can communicate with them and reach them on some level, leaving them, somebody has always said, and I like it, I like the kind of the phrase, is that you're planting seeds. And if we all do our job of trying to reach people, they get a little bit from you, what you've talked about, they see in the newspaper about their water or war or whatever it is, and then they hear it from somebody else. Pretty soon that begins to be within their world, their realm, what they're starting to think about and what they talk about. And then, we should talk about what a 10-year project is. Jacque often refers to some people hardwired, that is, that they're so into it that it's almost impossible for them to give it up. At that time, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Stan, but so many times when I've had the chance to spend time with people over a short period of time or a long, that often it's always the same initial rejection, and I call it initial rejection. We always talk about things as though finality. Joe's an asshole. Well, Joe's an asshole right now, but next week he could be different. We always so that when someone rejects or says, "Oh, that'll never work," when you describe something to it, they don't embrace it and go with it. That's initial rejection. And it's many, many times I've heard the same thing. That'll never happen. Then, after a while, when I'm around them and they're exposed to me, after a while, then I end up getting, in most cases, well, that'll never happen in my lifetime. Which to me instantly signifies that yes, they totally get it, that of course it can happen. Of course we have the ability and the resources. Of course our values are screwed up because of the conditions that necessitate them. And so then, have you ever experienced that? Well, it won't happen in my lifetime. When at first they said, that'll never happen.
Well, this is, I think this is different. This is very important situation and very important step, because we're talking about, never happen as an infinity. It never happened for me.
Right.
So this is the huge step. This is not
Yes.
easy step.
No.
This is for everybody's huge step. And as I mentioned at the beginning, that I was not on board with that 100%. I like this idea. I like the, how Jacque presents stuff. I like that he goes and he was going in lots of different fields, but I was skeptical. I was very skeptical, and I asked him questions. I asked him questions. I asked Roxana questions. I'm looking for what's different situation happen. How people try to get utopias. Try to run them or do something. The community try to be sustainable, and all the history. And you can see that this pattern, and you can see that this is how it can be developed. If you learn about the technology, this is how you actually go about. And I definitely agree. This is something that it is fundamental for us, that we are getting this new idea, and it sounds so good. So we automatically became skeptical, and I think this is the great way to go about things. This is I think it's a proper way to react.
Totally agree.
Because if somebody from the beginning getting 100% with that, that might be too enthusiastic, and down the road can be problematic.
Right. 2 words for that, Liz, what we see exemplified in the nation of America, where it's called, gullibility. That is the willingness to too easily accept and believe, or credulous, which means they'll believe to a certain point when they don't want to look like an idiot. It's too much, just ready to embrace, yes, whatever. And then so when people would say that at first they're totally rejected, it's initial rejection, and then later they begin to accept it. They just think, why should I do anything if it's not going to happen in my lifetime? Well, that'll never happen in my lifetime. At least they can accept it. At which point, then I point out things that they can relate to, like you wouldn't have that hip replacement. If people said, well, it'll never happen, we still have tooling and die, and I'm only going to be around for the next 30. If everybody felt that way, that it'll never happen in their lifetime, you wouldn't have most technology today, because it's built upon other people's work, a constantly evolving, a constant emergence of technology. And so they would often relate to that. They could see, well, yeah, you're right. It didn't happen in their lifetime, but it was something that they knew should happen, and they put time into it. So I would use that as a counter, when people have initial rejection and they get to the point where this won't happen in my lifetime. But I mean, you're hip that it can happen. We possess the abilities. We need to work for that. And then I think what is most difficult, and which I think has been lacking in the organization, is what do I do now? I had a lot of people that I talked to, and a lot of people totally got it. When we reach somebody who says, yes, I like this, is absolutely, I can totally understand. What do I do? What do I do right now? When I get home, what do I do? And in the past, it's been kind of ambiguous. Read get the book, read it, go online, watch as many movies, but there wasn't a specific concrete, where it seems like today we've reached the point where we have training. We have very intensified training in orientation, POC, point of contacts, and the socio-cyberneering. And so now it seems more cohesive on how to help people from the beginning, to empower them and give them the ability to become activists. When we're trying to reach people, that would be something that we should emphasize, right? To continue their training. Once they've learned, we actually have training ready for them.
You're absolutely right. This is, you hit nail on the head. The thing is, this is not about individual. it is the last frontier for the mind to give up this idea, but this is need to have everything need to happen for me. So
Right.
that's, as you mentioned, we will never have any progress in anywhere if people were working only for their self-interest. We are evolved as an empathic species. What does it mean on the global level? We empathic in our group, we empathic with our families or even of our friends, but what does it mean as a global family? It means that what you do going to impact everybody, and you definitely not going to see the results. But you will know that that the mind and the development and the betterment of human, you're part of it, and you actually contribute. It's I don't know where I got this. I don't remember when I got this expression, but we planting a trees in the shadow of which our grandkids will sit. So this is the thinking. This is the thing that need to actually sink in, that
Yes.
this is what actually happened. You're doing it for your children, doing it for your grandchildren. You're doing it for this betterment of humanity. If you like something that's happening right now, I mean, if you enjoy some kind of technology, we enjoy an internet, we enjoy an air conditioning, we enjoy an abundance of food, although it's rushing for money right now. So imagine what else can happen for the human, and the who come next will feel and be curious about this thing is exactly as you are. So you contributed to it. It's a lots of people we don't know about who actually work their asses off to make it happen, and we actually although we don't know their names, we can embrace that because this is human experience. This is
Yes.
so. If we're talking about what needs to be done right now, of course, it's a self-education. You have to be educated about the topic. It's the different things. It's a different thing between being informed and between, I'm sorry. It's a difference between to be informed and be educated on the topic. Because if you just inform, you have just a little presentation, just little information, just some surface thing. And if you feel that this is appealing to you, or you feel that you understand, you have to dig deeper for everything, and you have to understand that how it works and why it's developed this way. So that's why I'm actually value more future by design and over the other things, because it's actually show Fresco how he developed these ideas. Giesecke talked to him about it, and he actually going from a different perspective. He not just sit one day and it's dawn on him. Nobody goes through that. If you feel that happened to you, you're missing a lot in life. Okay, so what can be done right now? As right now, try to be more informed of what kind of alternatives we have, how we can get into the system. Of course, we have. It's a big difference between people just self-educated, try to be self-educated about the Venus Project and resource-based economy, and right now that the educational courses that we have. But of course, we have room for improvement, and we will improve because we're constantly working on that.
Yes.
It takes some time because we were doing volunteering work, and we all have our lives and have to work for to support ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're getting our traction. This is it's slow but steady.
Yes, it is. And it also seems like when there is participation, when a person perhaps, and everyone has skills. Some people think, well, what can I really do? I don't know all that much. And it just simply isn't true. That's what we've been trained to do, is reduce our own potential. Is that when they interact, when they join and participate, and whether it's linguistic or it's in media or social media or whatever it is, when they begin to participate with that, their own interaction and their knowledge base becomes increased. They have a wider range of thought, and their activity and their participation, they develop more. They're also exposed around that kind of thinking more. And so there's so many different opportunities for members and supporters to become involved, so many different projects. You're a Venus Project, a volunteer, but you really do some wonderful work. What can you tell us about some of the things that you do for the Venus Project? Research.
Well, Yeah. Well, actually, what we're doing right now, we're trying to streamline the social media. We're trying to develop next step that that actually will make sense before we try to reach the city. But of course, if we were able to do the city, we'll do that. But I'm not going to give up more on that because it needs to be announced when it's going to be ready.
Sure.
We working with different people all the time. We try to reach out to different professionals to get them on board, and also volunteers. We're trying to get the new website, get online, and it is a lots of work.
Yes, it is.
Also translations, also communication with different cultures, different languages. We try to get their main website, revamp the main website, and make it more streamlined, and include different languages translations for the website, because right now it's in English and lots of people speak English, but we have lots of people who working and translating to many different languages.
Yes.
And people visit the website. We can see that they visit from all around the world. So we try to include this as one of the steps that need to be taken toward the streamlining of our presentation. On the topic, what people can do, even if they don't feel that they don't have proper skills, you can find lots of stuff online that is free. You can download lots of free programs, lots of free tutorials, and actually go through the courses. Open Khan Academy, open lots of. I think we need to rotate it again a couple of times. We had huge list of their open sources that anybody can use to get any skills with useful skills, because video editing, audio editing, picture, Photoshop, all this stuff, it's actually anybody can develop it on their own time.
Sure.
We can have some playwrights. We can do some little little videos and little movies. We can do animations. It's a lot of educational stuff that we need to have, and actually to go there to be able to reach people and actually present a lot of concepts that wasn't covered yet. So you can see, within the Venus Project right now, and all about the resource-based economy, it's still a lots of things that we did not cover yet. A lots of things that wasn't released, not because we try to withhold this information, but because it's a very raw stage. So we will try to develop this certain presentations for it. And if somebody will listen to it and still have doubts in the mind, reach out to us, ask us tell us what you can do, tell us what you would like to do, and maybe we can point out that direction that you can develop the skill that actually will benefit you and the project.
Absolutely. And people think I don't have skills. Whatever language that they're speaking, that they can do translations. There's help needed even in English. That social media, that which they're participating in, they can be instrumental in helping spread awareness and assist others who are maintaining those pages. Everything's done by volunteer, man. So it's all up to us on how well. If you don't like the way things are looking, then jump in, offer to help. We welcome everyone's participation. So you really have done so many. Can you tell us a little bit about the Venus Project International, TVP International?
Well, the Venus Project International, this is the concept that Fresco actually talked about. This is, I don't know if you remember that it was similar to a Project Americana that he tried to start it here. Have you heard
Not
about
familiar.
that?
No.
Okay.
Tell us.
So this is the idea of their of the society that a preliminary step to a resource-based economy on their nation level.
Right.
So this is basically, when we get to the point when we can get countries to participate in the Venus Project International, meaning that it will be assigned certain part of land where lots of different countries actually, chip in and try to build a joint venture that will be guided by the Venus Project as a step to the resource-based economy.
Excellent.
So this is, we're talking already something that will surpass the United Nations.
Right.
Right
Transition
now.
years down the road
Yeah.
as it develops and get
It's,
to that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're talking specifically to it, but before that, we have to do lots of different steps.
Sure.
We have lots of things that developed and still in development because we does not have resources or professionals or both. But it's a movie, it's animations, it's it's a game, or actually we have a concept for the game that based
Right.
on the strategy that resource-based economy can be introduction for somebody.
Absolutely. And all of these steps and plans and phases are procedures. This is what attracted me more than anything, and why I don't subscribe, participate, petitions. I don't do any of that stuff, because none of them have a plan. None of them have gone through the factors that shape human behavior and the plan to deal with that. It's an established system. It's not hodgepodge. It has established procedures, and even those undergo change as the factors that help shape them are constantly changing every day, through socioeconomic, religious, all of these things as they emerge. We have steps, established procedure on how things work. And so we just have to get to that point. And the phases of the Venus Project have always been outlined. Phase 1 was the established example there in Venus, Florida, the research centers. Phase 2 was the movie, which we're all working on, and I still getting the music out for the fundraiser, and we can all participate in that. So it's, as we reach these stages, there are procedures for that, aren't there?
For their initials, yes, we're developing that. It is not something that we solidly have. It is more, we try to change and adapt to what we have right now, but we initiate lots of things that can take on if we will have proper funding and we can get proper professionals to actually implement that, and then get volunteers on board to help. Mm-hmm. Because we cannot just sit and wait for anything. Right. But we try to work through lots of things, and lots of things actually catching on. People reach out to Roxanne, and they asking what they can do, and actually this is not just a person who would like to participate in the social media or something something similar to it. It's people with highly skilled professionals. But we still have to actually outline what we're going to do, when we're going to do. Because if we have overall goal, this is not changing. We have overall steps, which is not changing. But in between, because of the situation, because we actually, it's taking so long. I heard a lot of feedback like that. Oh, why you didn't build? Why you haven't built a city yet?
Right.
Many years. So that's where it starts. It starts from understanding how the thing work. How the things work and how things develop, because nothing is developed even in 10. We're not talking about open a soup kitchen. We're not talking about just shelter for homeless or shelter for animals. We're talking about change in the city, in society, and this has never happened fast. And we not try to implement, some kind of revolution or try to force this just on society, because it never end up to anything good. Lots of people get hurt, and for the little change, it's a lot of sacrifice.
Yes,
I needed sacrifice. So what we're actually doing, we're building this momentum, we're building this movement, we're building this idea, we're building this process. This is the root of the change right now. We're building this process, and we know where we're going, and we know where we want to go.
Right.
So this is very important. And if you mean that by procedure, then yes, we have this procedure in place.
Right on. And it's, also this movement, our own participation, our own learning, um, that our values are changing, which has to be a very, very important factor, being prepared for the future. And we begin to adopt a different way that we live, the way that we purchase, or the lack of purchasing crap that we don't need. And so our values begin to become in line and become balanced, and actually would, as time goes on, be ready to live in a city. I often, when people say, in fact, one of the episodes on this channel is going to be, why don't we build a city? Where's the city? I'm ready to go. And our values, and I've heard Jacque say, well, if you built a city and you brought all of your people together right now and moved in, you'd be killing each other by the end of the week because of the values you have today. And I use an example that everyone laughs at, but they totally relate to. And some of the values would be like, well, don't be looking at my girl. This possessive competition. People aren't ready. Any of us still have personality conflicts that we have with someone because of our indoctrination. But through participation in this movement based on social and environmental, our own values begin to change, and the values in our children begin to change. We raise them up with different values, more balanced and improved values that would be ready to live in such a city. So, that's a lot of people get that. Well, why isn't there a city? Let's build it. Which to me is kind of vocal and exemplary, that they haven't read enough yet. They really don't know the processes involved of the aims and goals of the Venus Project. They understand their values aren't there yet, and it takes work. It's hard to cast off, a lifetime of indoctrination of stuff that's really not based on reality or truth. So,
well, this is absolutely, this is human condition. Nothing you can do about that. Nothing I can do about that. Nothing nobody can do about that. The neuron connection grows with a specific speed. You cannot dissolve this very fast, and you cannot grow it very fast. You have to go through specific training. I mean, you have to train yourself, meaning through education, through exposure, to, thinking about these things. Try to understand that, what the thing is, we trained we trained to think this way. You have to understand that everything you know and everything you say was developed long time before you were born. So you're already born in a situation, and if you feel that something that something that you personally develop and nobody knew about it, I can guarantee you, look on the Facebook, look on the Twitter, look on whatever, people doing the same thing. Everybody think they're unique until they act.
yes.
And by the action, you can see that we actually, more the same, that we're different. So if somebody expect to this change to happen, if somebody very fast, and this is a delusional thinking, this is magical thinking. So the thing is that what need to be understood, that the change come from within, meaning that your value, as you mentioned, your values, your perceptions are changing. And they are changing by when you broaden your horizons, no matter you like it or not, because lots of experiences that will change you and change you for the better may not be pleasant. Nobody will be happy to actually, to understand that we're a bundle of tropisms. So we react in organisms. So it's just, it's something about feeling. It's something about, spiritual connection. Yes, this is, you feel the connection, but you feel the connection if you are in a proper environment. If you know that nothing actually threaten you, if you have nothing to, nothing to fight for, that's how you feel connection with your fellow human being and with the other living beings on the planet. So it is very important to understand that it takes time. If it takes time for us to learn new things, this is the reality, and we have to adjust to it.
And to understand that really empowers us when we understand that the guy's an asshole, spouting stuff off that's intensely hurtful, that he's just reflecting. If he didn't speak up, he wouldn't be, doing what he's supposed to do. And so, a lot of his understanding that even ourselves have been conditioned in the way we respond, the way that we absorb, the way we cognitively associate things, which is really, I mean, when you look at it, even our way of thinking is totally effed up because we have to think. We have to think of what's involved at the end of the day, work tomorrow, how much money, all of these things and values based on an outdated system, like you said, it was created hundreds of years ago. And so our understandings, the more that we realize that, the more that we learn how to talk to people and the way that we learn from others' experiences who can share information on how they're reaching people, where we're going, and that work is being done, and that none of us are alone. That just because you don't see it in your own town right now doesn't mean that there's action happening all over the planet. And headquarters is deeply involved in the architecture to help us get from here to there. And it's always nice to learn more. And so we've learned a little bit about the TVP International as more for a global outlook of a resource-based economy when we've reached that point. Anything else you could add about the TVP International?
Well, I would not really add anything else about, because that step is long ahead of us.
Yeah.
It is better to deal with what we have right now.
Gotcha.
And we're talking about changing our values mostly right now. And I would like to mention also that we have limited capacity of our attention span. And what is important right now that because you're learning new information, you have to go and have to process it on some level. And when you process that your brain working on that, your brain trying to reach out and build new connections. And this new connection have to came from where? If you already have there lots of TV, lots of music, whatever happened. If you're preoccupied with something else, you have to give it up. This is how value change. Nothing will be changing if you're not going to give up something that you constantly preoccupied with, and actually not enhancing your life and somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So that's limit. We have limited capacity of the attention. We have limited capacity of the processing power in our brain. So when you give up certain things that you've been obsessed with. And obsessed, I'm using very strong word, but this is to illustrate. I do not mean as the illness obsession.
Right, preoccupied.
But a little bit more than just preoccupied. Something that preoccupies you. It's not you preoccupied. You're preoccupied by it. Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're preoccupied by something, consumed by it, yes, and this has become something that you cannot let go. This is the first thing that you need to let go.
Yeah, and because it doesn't do anything, it doesn't help your own development, which you then affects other people wherever you are. You become real. It becomes exemplified to the way you behave. And neither does it do anything for 60 or whatever 1,000 people. It's starved to death. Preoccupied crap that have nothing to do with the oxygen you breathe, the food, quantity of, any of that. So there's some sacrifice involved. And wouldn't you say that for some of us, they look forward to that? Because they realize that it's a nowhere event, that it's a null and void action. And so we look forward.
It's not going to happen right away. Absolutely. Nobody can drop a habit that developed through years and years in one night. So, and if you're going through that, if you actually try actively going through that, you will understand how other people feel when you try to change them.
Dig it. Good
Imagine if somebody will try to do it for you. Whatever you do, you develop, and you try to get rid of your routine or of your habit, and this thing is exactly happening with the other person when you try to present the new information. You try to you try to make them get rid of their habit of thinking. And this is have so much inertia that you don't have to give him a fish, you have to learn him how to fish. I'm sorry, you have to teach him how to fish.
Sure.
When you teach him how to fish, meaning that you point out, you're not telling the person what person need to do, you point out the information. If person actually start to look into it information, person start learning about it. So, again, you can bring horse to the water. But,
Totally.
yeah.
Make them drink.
You cannot
That's right.
make them drink.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's just initial rejection. They hear it from you, what you talked about, they see on the news, they hear in the newspaper. Then someone else, they hear it from them, this line of thinking, this line of reasoning. And so it does take time. But I still think that it's initial, that the more, not any person that I've ever talked to didn't want to live as long as they could, spend time with those they love and care about, have the time in this planet while they're alive to pursue things that bring them joy or contentment. Everybody shares that. And so I can't imagine anyone, even the guys that make bombs, even the people in defense, some of them sincerely believe that that's how you protect. And that as people get a wider range of information and over a period of time, who on earth would want to keep this kind of a system of unjust, hostile, unpredictably violent, and immoral system continued when such a wonderful alternative based on human and environmental? I think they just need more information. And I always think that it's initial. You stick with them long enough, they see it. They begin to come around. And I think you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And you can't, Jacque said, you can't talk to somebody in 20 minutes and change their values. It's highly improbable, a lifetime of stuff. Doesn't he give an example where he goes an example would be like there's a bunch of tribesmen, going around a fire and they're jumping up and down as they go in a circle. And it's like he comes up to him and he says, hey, jumping up and down doesn't do anything. They're like, okay, we'll stop. They're not going to. Something that they've grown up with. And for some people to give up on the system, it's almost like treasonous for them to even think, that they would be, that this is not the best system. America's the greatest, and on and on. And so it just takes information. And I don't know where I was going with that, except that it's patience, like you said, and becoming fluent in our understandings, having a knowledge base where we can talk to others. And a lot of that has to do with our own growth, the way that we keep persistently learning more and more and getting rid of our old values and becoming the values that we wish to see, the kind of knowledge that we know we can attain to start behaving like that. And that's kind of a sacrifice too.
Well, it is sacrifice on the personal level, but you actually gain much more.
Yes,
you gain enormously more from it. The thing is, when you give up all habits, that lots of possibilities, lots of opportunities open for your mind and for your development. Because for something that you discredited at the beginning, for lots of things, it does not mean that you have to accept everything, but you can start to find out something that actually can be useful in lots of different areas, even in some maybe unappealing stuff. But you can see that for example, if you're talking about people who get invested into this system, whatever they do in the military or finance or whatever. Of course, they have investment. They all their life invest into it, and they're not evil. They people like you and me. They are appropriate to the environment. They never heard about that. This is working for them, and they feel they have this illusion that this is something that actually makes sense. But again, from my experience, even people like that, if you dig deep enough, and it's not that deep. They too understand that this is not right. This is not fair system. Absolutely. Not and what kind of future we're going to have, for the children going to have, because lots of stuff happens that resulting from our actions, and we cannot reverse it overnight. Even if we stop right now, even if we stop fossil fuel development, even if we stop wars right now, even if we shift overnight to to renewable energies, we will still have lingering effects for very, very long time. So again, to reiterate, actually, after the bottom line, the change start within when you start to learn about it. The change goes out when you start to talk to other people. And so, like you, Luke, doing this channel right now, this is your effort to change the values. This is your effort to outreach. We're talking about these things. People need to know information, and even if they don't understand right now, and does not feel relevant right now, what we're talking about actually, it is basically benefit everybody. And the system that Venus Project proposes and the resource-based economy concept, this is that like we never had this before. We never had this before, and this is not just something that for a certain group, and we're trying to build something that that will be perfect.
Right.
This is, as we see it, this is actually bringing people together and utilize the most untapped resource on our planet is the human mind. Because if human mind does not have any constraints of their, fighting for survival, for competition, toward the drudgery of the repetitive task, human mind evolved to be very, very creative. Human mind evolved to explore. So this is our destiny. This is our evolution. We evolved to be a more sentient being, as in a sense that we want to understand more. We want to reach out more, and technology will help us if we utilize it appropriately.
Right. Absolutely. Good one. Well, we're getting into some time. I want to keep going. I mean, whenever we meet or wherever we're together, at the research center or whatever, when we're with each other, we can speak a language. We can look at things that we would never be able to have the opportunity to look into and discuss and revel on the potential that lies within us all. So it's just wonderful to talk with you. On some parting words. Yes. On parting words to those that are out there in the streets that are trying to help, any last parting words that you would offer to help them or acknowledge them?
I will say, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results. The main result that you do, that we all participate in this in our own speed, in our own ability, in our own level. So whatever you do, even if it's feel to you as a small, this is very significant. If a lot of people start doing that.
Totally agree. And well, it's been wonderful to talk with you, and I want to acknowledge and thank you for all the work. Stan has done a tremendous amount of behind the scenes. He's he's non-ego driven, so he doesn't talk a lot about it, but you've done some wonderful work, and I just am very thankful and appreciative and acknowledge you. And look forward to everything and anything that I can ever be in assistance. I would like to help. Maybe sometime later in a year we could have another update from you, see what's new on the horizon, any new developments that you wish to share, and just to see and check in with you to see how things are going.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Luke, for what you do. And actually, lots of people doing lots of work. It's not, one or two or five people. Lots of people do the work, and it's very important. We try to, lots of things that we try to establish, establish the group. But because it is fluid, lots of people doing lots of different stuff, and it is very important. Again, however small it seems, the all contributions adds up. I'm sorry. So they adds up to something, something greater. It's up to us, to pushes us to our next level, to the next step towards resource-based economy. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, and big thanks, and to everybody who doing that, who's spreading this information, who learned about this thing, and and trying to help and educate ourselves and others.
Yeah, totally. I sure thank you. This is going to close for this edition. We're going to put up the link. For those that haven't seen this presentation from Jacque's 100th birthday last year in March, we'll have a link to it. It's a fantastic piece of work. And we'll link to your personal Facebook page. Are there any other areas that you would suggest for people to look that are activists, anything that they may not already be aware of?
They can go on the website and get in the section to get involved in lots of different projects and actually see what kind of participation we need urgently. But again, you can find the project already in development, or you can join the group and try to see whatever you can help at the moment with the different things that are happening.
Right on. Everyone's invited.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, buddy. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And we'll have a link for everybody. Check out the video presentation on transition, how we get from here to there. It's a wonderful presentation Stan did. And we wish everyone well and thank you for joining us and look forward to the next edition of Activism Insights. Thanks a lot, Stan.
Thank you very much, Luke.
For more information on the venusproject.com resource-based economy, log on to the venusproject.com website or check out the venusproject.com YouTube channels and Facebook pages.